What is up, my fellow fly fishermen? Graham Ferguson here, host of Flycasting Colorado. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weak. I think I have a cold right now, so I'm not feeling the greatest, so I apologize for that. You guys have been requesting a lot in the comments of some of my videos for me to do a rod arsenal review. So what I decided to do was go grab all the rods I have, put them together, and I'll go through all of them and show you guys all of my rods pretty much. We're gonna start off with the shortest rods and then work our way up to the longest rods, and that will pretty much also go with the weight of the rods. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first rod that I have for you guys today is my 7'6" 3-weight. This is actually my newest rod. I actually got this one for Christmas. It's super awesome and ridiculously light, and this has got to be probably my favorite rod in my arsenal. It's perfect for small stream. It's perfect for small stream fishing. It's super durable, super lightweight, and it feels awesome to hook a fish on one of these Mystic fly rods. It's just such a quality rod, and the reel on this one is the LL Bean Pocket Water in a 3-weight. That's a really, really nice reel. Really cheap reel. I highly suggest you guys look for this combo, the LL Bean Pocket Water Reel and the Mystic Fly Rods, if you guys are looking to get into some really light tackle small stream fly fishing. Next up on our list, we have my 8-foot bamboo rod. It's about a 4-weight pretty much. It is a super cool handcrafted rod. It is probably one of the coolest rods that I have. I would love to use this rod more, except I never really get to using it, especially with my new 3-weight. A lot of the places that I would normally take my bamboo rod, I end up taking my 3-weight instead. So it just doesn't feel right having such an awesome work of art sitting in my basement all the time and me never actually getting to use it. So if you guys are interested in buying a super cool handmade bamboo rod, just let me know and we can work out the details of it, like price and stuff like that, and I will be happy to sell this to you for a reasonable price. I will just have you know this rod is really heavy because it is pure bamboo, and the guides, I fixed it up with the epoxy so they won't be falling apart, but just so you guys know, there are some cracks in the epoxy that goes into the guides, so the lacing around the eyelets and stuff maybe a little bit cracked, but I actually went over and fixed that with epoxy. Also, the bamboo rod, it had a tendency to come apart, except I'm pretty sure I fixed that. I just put a little bit of tape around the joint section where the two things come together, and I've never had any problems with it besides for that. I mean, it hasn't came out since, and I can even take the tape off now and it doesn't really want to come out at all, so that's really good. And if you guys are looking to buy the bamboo rod, just so you know, the reel, I'm not going to be selling the reel. This is, I don't know, I don't have a lot of reels, and if I do get a 4-weight rod or something of that sort, this would definitely be a great reel to put on there. And I've already done some work on this, and there's epoxy around the edges and super glue, so I'm not sure if you guys would really want it that much anyways. So next up on our list is our 8-foot net angler 5/6 weight. So this was kind of weird. I saw this on Amazon. It was like, I don't know, $60 or something like that and it was a rod and reel combo, this reel with this rod, and it had basically a 8-foot 5/6 weight. I've never really seen that before, so I was kind of curious, so I went ahead and picked it up, and what I realized is this is actually a pretty nice rod. It doesn't have the hook holder right there, kind of a bummer, but I usually do it to the guides anyway. But I mean, this is a really cool rod, to be honest. I don't use it all that often because of the fact that I don't do a lot of small stream fishing where there are bigger fish, where I might need a shorter but stiffer rod. So if I'm ever using an 8-foot rod, I'm probably don't have the need to use it in a 5/6 weight. So if I go to any of those like really small spring creeks in Wyoming, which are super tight casting quarters, but there are some big fish in there, this would definitely be the rod that I would bring. Yeah, the reel isn't great. If I were to go to some of those places, I'd probably end up using a better reel on this guy. This is also the rod that I will let, if I have a friend over who wants to fish with me, I'll probably let them use this rod because this is a really hard to break rod and it's super easy to cast with. So if you guys are looking to get into fly fishing, this is probably a good rod because you can fish some of those smaller streams because it's real nice and short, but it also has the stiffness to tackle some of your bigger fish settings. And moving on down, next up we have the 8'6" 5-weight. This is probably the setup that you guys see me use 9 times out of 10. This is probably my most used setup. I use this setup pretty much anywhere. It's a super awesome setup. Sorry if you hear the scraping in the background. As we're getting into the longer rods here, I'm accidentally scraping it a little bit. We have the Hardy Ultralight Reel, and believe it or not, I actually won this at my fly shop during a raffle, so that was a score for sure, because I don't think I'd ever be able to afford a reel that nice for myself on my own, so that was super awesome. But this is definitely my main go-to setup. It's super light. The rod is a White River Classic. It's super cheap. I think it's $99 on Bass Pro Shops. It is a really awesome deal. Another thing that if you guys are just looking to start getting into fly fishing, I highly recommend you start off with one of these rod setups because these are super awesome. This is definitely my main go-to setup. Fishes well pretty much anywhere. So yeah, definitely my main and most used rod. The next rod I have up is the Piscifun. This is actually the 9'6" rod, except what I did is I had an extra butt section to another rod, so that actually pushed it all the way down because the butt section is what made the rod, is what gave the rod a lot of its length. So after I took off section, I measured it and it ended up being just 9'2", so just about 2 inches longer than your average fly rod. So this is probably my second most used rod. If I'm ever going to a larger river, say the South Platte or the Blue River, the Colorado or anything like that, and I just need a longer rod that's a little bit stiffer, this will definitely be the rod to go with. It is in fact a 5-weight, even though it is pretty long. And I still did keep the butt section. I'll show that to you guys right now. And if I'm ever fishing streamers or anything like that, I will just take off this section and then throw that butt section back on there, and it makes the perfect streamer rod. It's a super good check nymphing rod or high stick nymphing technique. This rod is really, really nice because it just gives you that much longer reach and lets you fish to different pockets and parts of the river that you wouldn't be able to do with, say, an 8-foot rod or an 8'6" rod. And it just gives you that extra leverage and that extra reach that you might need if you were wanting to do some indicatorless nymphing. It is a really awesome rod to use if you are starting to get into the indicatorless nymphing game, and if you are looking for just a starter rod to see how you like it, this is definitely the one to go with. It's probably like $70, $80. Reel that I have on this one is the Cabela's Wind River fly reel. I think this is in like a 5/6 weight. A little bit bigger. It has a large arbor so you can pick up line really fast, but this is definitely one of my favorite setups for fishing some bigger rivers and if I'm doing some tight line nymphing. And now for the big guys. Right here I have my Piscifun 10-foot 8-weight rod. This is a really, really sturdy rod. I have the Piscifun 7/8 weight reel, I believe, with some full sinking line. This is what I used in my saltwater fishing video in North Carolina. I will put a link to that below. This thing was handling some big fish. I actually caught a stingray on this, believe it or not. I don't think it was technically a stingray. I think it was like a bat ray or something like that. I'm not sure what it was. but this is definitely a really heavy duty rod. It has the really nice cork butt, so if you're fighting a bigger fish, you can put that into your chest and really get some more lift power on them. And whatever you're really wanting to do, this is a really nice rod if you're trying to handle some of those heavier fish. If I were to ever go fly fishing for pike or anything like that, this would definitely be the rod that I would go with, because it has a lot of stiffness and a lot of power that it can really handle some of those bigger fish. This is definitely an ideal saltwater setup if you're looking to just kind of get into some saltwater fly fishing and you're just kind of messing around. I believe that an 10-foot 8-weight is probably the way to go. This is definitely my heaviest rod and the highest in the weight category. So yeah, super big and heavy duty rod. And last but not least, we have the beloved Tenkara rod. This thing is super awesome. I got this for my birthday last year. It is super sweet. It is a Japanese method of fishing. As you guys can tell, there is actually no reel on it. I've only got to really use it once. That was in this mountain fishing video. I will put a link to that in the description below if you guys want to go check out that video. But this was a super awesome rod. This summer, I hope to use this a whole lot more if I go on some more small stream fishing stuff, and even maybe some bigger rivers. My really good friend I go fishing with all the time, he's in a ton of my videos, Caddis Travis. He actually used this on the Frying Pan River in Aspen. I will link that video in the description as well so you guys can see him catching some big fish on the Tenkara rod. So yeah, it's a super awesome rod. It compacts down, so it's very small, and you basically just pop off the cork when you want to do it. This one is actually 12 foot. Yeah, it's 12 feet. And it's a super awesome small stream rod, and you basically just can pull it out, keep going, all of the joints, making sure that they're all nice and tight until you get all the way out. And this thing is super long. It gives you a ton of reach because you actually don't have a reel on this. It's just the rod. And as they say at Tenkara USA, it's literally just a rod, line, and fly. It's pretty much as simple as you can get. It's a Japanese method of fishing. It's extremely effective for small streams because you don't have to worry about all that line you're pulling out and different things. If you guys are skeptical of getting into the Tenkara thing and you have seen videos on it and you're just doubting whether it's worth it to get into it, I urge you, just buy a Tenkara rod. They're so cool, and it's so much more effective for small stream fishing. And if you like to go backpacking or go on hikes, this is perfect because as you can see, as I'm doing right now, is it compacts down super small. And honestly, like if I wanted to, I could easily fit this in, say, a backpack or whatever I wanted to fit it in, and I could just carry this around with me pretty much wherever I go. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been meaning to do something like this for a while now, so kind of like a rod review almost sort of thing where I take all of my equipment and I just kind of show you guys what my arsenal looks like right now. But if you guys wanted me to show you guys the pack that I use, I actually just got a new one, and where I keep everything, what the model is, and why I like it and how I use it, I can definitely do a video of that. All you guys have to do is go down into the comments below and tell me, basically just say, do a pack review or whatever, and I will gladly do that for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.